will deliver him into your hand. Who is the your? Barak. God wanted Barak to destroy Sisera. What did Barak say?
Judges
Barak looked at
chapter
the
4,
prophet
verse
and said,
7.
if you will go with me, then
Okay.
I will
Judges
go.
4:8.
But if you don't go with me, I won't go. So the prophet said, so she said, I will surely go with you. Nevertheless, there will be no glory for you in the journey you are taking. For the Lord will sell Sisera into the hand of a woman. Was that God's purpose? Was that God's plan? No. Go back again. All right. What did God say? I will deliver him, Sisera, into your hand. But because he says, unless you go with me, I will not go. You limit the Holy One of Israel. God says, then there will be no credit for you. The credit will go to a woman. His name is Yael. Are you with me so far? Now we come to the question that I left you all hanging weeks ago. Hebrews, the famous Hall of Faith, and we have this question asked in Hebrews. What more shall I say? For the time would fail me to tell of Gideon and Barak and Samson and Jephthah, also of David and Samuel and the prophets, who through faith subdued kingdoms, worked righteousness, obtained promises, stopped the mouths of lions. Now, I was reading this one day, and then I knew that there's no insignificant details in the Bible. You know, Jesus quoted the Bible based on one word, and the Pharisees never answered, you're quoting based on just one single word? As if the Bible is not inspired. They knew the Bible, the Pharisees. Every word is inspired. Jesus argued that God is a God of not just the dead, the God of the living, God of Abraham, Isaac,
The
and
key
Jacob.
to
He says,
robust
I am the
faith.
God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He argued from the M, I am. Elohi, Elohenu, I am, present tense. I'm still the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. In arguing about the resurrection. And the Pharisees never said, you're arguing based on one word. Today, liberals are taking advantage of the Bible and saying that, oh, this part is nice. Let me tell you, every word is inspired. So when I read the Bible and I see Gideon and Barak, wait a minute. Chronologically speaking, who came first? Barak came before Gideon. All this in the book of Judges, okay? Then Samson and Jephthah. Wait a minute. Jephthah came before Samson? Samson is towards the end of Judges. In fact, he was the last judge. Officially, it was Samuel the last judge, but Samson was the last judge. Just like the time of the kings. It ended with Nebuchadnezzar coming in, and the last king, his eyes was gouged out. The last judge of all the judges, his eyes was gouged out. In Christendom, the last church, the professing, the people, not the true church, Philadelphia, but the last one, Laodicea, Jesus says you are blind. So in everything that man does, whether it's through prophets, whether it's through kings, whether it's through priests, whether it's through Christendom, it always fails if we forget the Lord is number one, central in our life. So here we go. Samson came after Jephthah, but yet his name is mentioned first. What about David and Samuel? Who came first? Samuel anointed the boy David, right? If not, there's no prophet to anoint him. So David came after Samuel, yet David came first. Here. What's the reason? We don't have time. Because I prayed so much. And we'll continue next week. All right? It's really time's up, really. I really... want to venture a guess. I told you about Barak. Compared to Gideon and Barak. Real quick, Gideon and Barak both had faith, or else their names won't be here. But it's not about time. It's not about this. When God
Sermon 550, the key
first,
to robust faith.
Is God favors that first. It is actually not based on time. It's based on the quality of faith. It's based on the excellency of faith. It's a greater faith. As I showed you just now, Barak compared to Gideon. Barak's faith was, if you go with me, then I'll go with you. Whereas for Gideon, his eyes was on the Lord. You know, he did put out the fleece, but obviously with God, God allowed it because he was looking to the Lord. Whereas Barak was looking to the woman. Are you with me so far? It's not about chronology, it's about the quality. It's about the excellency of faith. What about Samson and Jephthah? People today I hear people preach against Samson a lot and all that. But let me tell you this: carnal as he is, he reminds us of all of us. But he had faith in God. His name is mentioned in the Hall of Faith. He made it to heaven, yes, of course. Amen. And Samson and Jephthah. What about Samson? What did Samson do? What did Jephthah? What did Jephthah do? Samson, for example, here's a story where it says he found a new jawbone of an ass, put forth his hand and took it, and slew 1,000 men therewith. And Samson said, with the jawbone of a donkey, heaps upon heaps of the jaw of a donkey, have I slain 1,000 men. And it came to pass when he had made an end of speaking, that he cast away the jawbone out of his hand and called the place Ramat Lehi, which means the exaltation of the jawbone. All right? Drop down. And he was sore athirst and called on the Lord. Now, he was sore athirst. When he was thirsty, who did he call on?
The Lord.
The Lord. He called on the Lord and said, Thou hast given this great deliverance. He gave God the glory. Say what you want about Samson. He knew where his deliverance came from. You have wrought this great deliverance, given this deliverance to the hand of your servant. Now shall I die for thirst and fall into the hand of the uncircumcised? But God clave an hollow place that was in the jaw, and there came water thereout. And when he had drunk, his spirit came again, and he revived. Wherefore he called the name thereof Ayin HaKoreh. Ayin is fountain. The Koreh is the caller. The fountain of the one who called. Okay. Which is now in Israel. And one of these days, I pray that you go to Samson's house. And the place where he was buried is all there. And there's no monuments, by the way. Only the place that's buried, there's a Jewish tomb. But I'm telling you, it's exciting. We were there this much. Right? And, let me tell you this. This is not based on law. It was based on law. Samson failed. The moment he picked up, go back again. When he picked up the jawbone, go back. Verses before. Yeah, he found a new jawbone of an ass and put forth his hand. You see that? He touched a dead carcass. He's not supposed to. Nazirite vow, he's not supposed to touch any dead body. And yet God brought the victory for him. Because in a way he functioned like the Syrophoenician woman. It wasn't time for the Gentiles, but she reached out into the future. How to believe God when you find you